Welcome to a Pad Thai cooking class with Conscious Works and Milk Crate. Today we're going to be showing you how to make a very quick and simple Pad Thai with very standard ingredients. We're really excited that you could join us. We hope you enjoy this cook-along demo that we've put together. You can follow along with your recipe and pause this video whenever you'd like. Enjoy! We are going to start by making our Pad Thai sauce that we can just set aside. First, we're going to start with 5 tablespoons of brown sugar. We're going to add 3 tablespoons of fish sauce, 1 tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar, and 1 tablespoon of red chili paste, sriracha, sambal, or gochujang, or chili flakes if you need to. Give it a stir, and then set aside when you're ready. With your noodles, you want to follow the ingredients on your package. I'm using a flat Thai noodle in a boiling water and boil for 5 minutes. Let's play with some tofu. I'm using an extra firm tofu. You can use shrimp or chicken or anything you want here, but if you're using tofu, we're going to be cutting these into bricks that are smaller than the brick that you started with, and then from those bricks, we'll be cutting those into strips that are about the size of a fingernail, just like this. Then from there into much smaller bricks. We nailed it. See? Fingernail size. Told you. Once that's all chopped up, you're going to add it to a bowl, and then we're going to add a little bit of your Pad Thai sauce to let the tofu, shrimp, or chicken marinate. If you're using shrimp, you can keep it whole. If you're using chicken, cutting it to around the same size is preferred. This is me making sure my noodles didn't boil over, and we're going to add our sauce on top of the tofu. Not all of it, just a splash, just like that. Set the tofu aside, give it a stir if you want, and let it hang out until you're ready for it. Eggs. Cracking 2 eggs into a bowl. Show off. Then we're going to whisk these eggs, and we're going to let them fluff up a little bit, and we're going to add them into a hot pan, medium-sized pan, on medium to high heat with a little bit of canola oil in it. There's that pan with canola oil that we were talking about, getting nice and hot. Also, my noodles are just beside it, finishing the cooking process. Eggs into the pan. Spread your eggs out a little bit. You can whisk it up a little bit at this stage of the game, but once your eggs are dispersed in the pan, we're going to let it sit just like that. We're not going to mess around with it too much. While our egg cooks, we're going to take a sticker off of a pepper, run our knife down the middle of it so we can pop it open just like that. See? Just like that. Then cutting that piece into a quarter, and then running our knife down the white veins, taking that off. You can keep it on if you want. I find it's easier to cut peppers without those getting in the way. Rip the core out. This is a nice way of preventing a lot of pepper waste. If you end up with a lot of pepper trim, you can make it a nice roasted red pepper sauce or soup out of your trim from the peppers here. Trim it all up just like that. With our peppers, just do a nice thin slice lengthwise down the pepper. We're creating thin pepper strips. Make sure you curve your fingers inward so you don't run the risk of taking the tops of your fingers off, and please make sure you're using a sharp knife. And we'll just continue this process until our entire pepper is chopped up. A carrot appears. You can wash your carrots or peel them, it's up to you. I like to slice my carrot on a bias like this, and you'll see why here in a second. Do nice thin slices on the bias, creating these little carrot coins, and this is a washed carrot, not a peeled carrot. Then stack your carrot coins up on top of each other, and then one slice, and you end up with these brilliant little carrot sticks without having to cut all the edges off your carrot and waste so much. Our egg is nice and cooked. should be fluffy and being able to peel away from the pan, and it should be able to flop out just like that onto a plate. We're going to let this chill in the fridge for a second, and we're going to roll it up and then make slices of this as well. This will be just a nice way to add protein and a fun extra type of noodle in your pad thai. So from here, we're going to stick this egg in the fridge and come back and slice it later. Fun with shallots. Take the top and bottom off your shallot, slice it in half, then we're going to peel the skin off, then we're going to do a nice thin slice on our shallot, again keeping your fingers curved like this to prevent a bloodbath in your kitchen. You can use shallots. I like to use them because they have a lot of flavor and you don't end up wasting like half a red onion on something or white onion. But if you have any extra onions just laying around, feel free to sub out any type of onion for this. Garlic. Now, if you've never cleaned whole garlic before, we're going to push down on it and make sure we get all of our weight on top of the garlic, just like that. Then all the little garlic friends pop out. These cloves we will put our weight on again, slice, and set aside next to our shallots. If you have pre-peeled garlic, that's totally fine. But if you've never worked with garlic with the peel on, grab a friend, give it a little whack, and that skin should blister and be able to come right off. And your hands will smell fantastic by the end of this. Once your garlic is out of the peel, give it a nice thin slice, just like that. Again, curving your fingers inwards so you do not cut off your finger. As thin as you can with the garlic. The thinner the surface area, the more garlic flavor you will get in your pad thai. Now we're cutting all the green things. We're going to start with green onion. We're going to chop this green onion here. You can chop 3 of these green onions from green all the way down to the white. Choice is yours. I'm not there to judge you, but I am going to start with just the green parts of my green onion. Then we're also going to introduce some cilantro. Now, if you don't like cilantro, you do not have to use this part. We are just going to take these leaves here, wrap them up in a little ball, and then just give a nice little rough chop, just like that. And we'll set both these aside as we prep the snap peas and serrano chili. Snap peas. Sugared snap peas, we're just going to thinly slice them as comfortable as you want to, just like that on the bias. You can do a stubby bias or a long bias like this. Exactly. We'll chop these 4 and set them aside. If you can't find bean sprouts, these are a very good substitute for them because they've got that nice watery crispness that are a really nice addition to your pad thai. It's important to do a lot of this prep ahead of time because your pad thai, once it's in the pan, will take around 5 to 6 minutes. So if you can get all this done now, plating becomes a really easy and fun thing to do. I'm using a serrano pepper here because my recipe calls for Thai chili, but I just can't handle that heat. Nice thin slices of your serrano pepper. If you're using a jalapeno or an Anaheim, same thing here. Again, you want to go as thin as possible, just like that. And again, we don't need a lot of it. And I cannot stress, please wash your hands after you work with Thai chilies or serrano peppers. Definitely do not take your contact lenses out. Last thing we need to cut is a lime. There, we nailed it. 1 lime cut in half. The other lime we are going to cut in quarters. Or in half, then that in half again. Then we're going to take the stem. Oh, I wish this hand would move. There we go. We have our little lime wedges, and then we're going to take the whites that are around the core away. This will help when we go to squeeze them later. They will juice nicely and we won't get any extra seeds in our pad thai. Now for some peanuts. We're going to take a couple roasted peanuts and give them a nice chop on our board here. You just want to break them up a little bit. You can keep them whole or chop them as thick or as thin as you like. I like to have a little bit of texture to them, so we're just going to do a rough chop here, and we'll set them aside for later. The egg is out of the fridge now. We're going to roll this up just like that. Move the plate, and we are going to chop the egg here just like this. We're creating nice 1/4 inch size slices of egg. Again, this will absorb all the flavor in our pad thai and add a little bit of extra protein to our dish. Alright, we've got everything meased up here and we are ready to go. The sauce is made, noodles are cooked, everything is ready. We'll see you at camera 2. We are going to start by adding our garlic and shallots to a hot pan with about 2 to 3 tablespoons of canola oil in. I've got all my ingredients right beside me here. I've added salt and pepper to my garlic and shallot. That's going to help the onion or the shallot and garlic cook fast. While this bubbles and the garlic and shallot become translucent, we're going to think about our lives for a second here, just reflect on the awesome smell that's coming out of the pan, and now we're going to grab our peppers, move everything around a little bit, add our pepper, some of our carrot, and move them around, cover them in that oil that has been seasoned with garlic and shallot. We'll let this cook for about a minute and come back and add our tofu. It's been a minute. So we are going to move our softening carrot and pepper to the north side of the pan, and then we're going to add our marinated tofu to the south side of the pan. This is going to do a couple things. One, it's going to add a sear to the tofu. Also, it'll allow the carrots and peppers to continue to steam with the garlic and shallot over here. We're going to break all this up here in a moment, but right now we just want to add a bit of a sear to our tofu. So I've pushed the pan just a little bit so that the south part of the pan, or the pan with the tofu, is more directly on the element, and the peppers and shallots are hanging off just above everything else. You can remove your shallots, garlic, peppers, and carrots and bring them back later and sear more tofu as you need to. You can also cook this in a wok as well, but we're using the Canadian Tire Special today because we're cooking at home. So we'll give our carrots and peppers a stir. Meanwhile, our tofu is searing. Then when you're ready, take a look at your tofu. You should be seeing a little bit of a sear there. And now we're going to stir everything together, give everything a nice shake. Everything's now tossed in the same oil. All your flavors are starting to get to know each other. We're now going to add our egg and our noodles. Noodles are in, and we're going to add about half the amount of sauce right now. If we need to add more, we can. We're also going to give that a little bit of a stir. Then we're going to add our lime as well. We're going to add, again, half the amount of lime. We have half of it there. Nice squeeze, or you can choose it with a juicer if you want, whatever you want to do. We're going to let this steam a little bit. The noodles are going to break down and soak up all that flavor. And you're also going to notice that the sauce is going to be absorbed by everything else as well and continue to cook. After about 2 minutes, we're going to add some of our green friends, like a little bit of our green onion, some of our cilantro, and 1 to 2 pieces of our serrano pepper. Again, this will make everything a bit hotter, so please be careful. In we go. We'll give that a nice saute and bring this together. If you're cooking with chicken or shrimp, you want to make sure that your chicken is cooked before we get to this stage. We're trying to keep everything nice and vibrant here. Toss it all together and then remove it from the heat. We are going to go to the plate and I'll meet you there. A bowl, our finished pad thai hanging out right beside it. And then we also have our chopped nuts as well as our garnish plate. With your pad thai, You're going to grab it with some tongs or chopsticks, whatever you feel more comfortable with. You're going to hold the pad thai up nice and high and spin the bowl as you slowly release the pad thai noodles from your tongs. This is going to give you a little bit of height. It literally does nothing to the flavor. It just makes your pad thai higher and helps your presentation. This works with a lot of different pastas as well, like all the pastas that are in noodle form, also any kind of noodle dish like this. So once you have a nice pile there, go ahead and grab some of your noodles and extra tofu chunks kicking around just to help fluff up your plated pad thai. Then we're going to add a little bit more tofu. Perfect. Now, we'll move that away. Who needs it? We'll add some chopped peanuts over top, then some green onion, cilantro, some bean sprouts, some snap peas on top of those, a little bit more nut, there we go, a little bit more green onion, and you are done. And that's your dinner. A couple of lime wedges here, so you can squeeze them or just put them off to the side and let your guests deal with it as well. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy. Thank you.